His Excellency Riek Machar, First Vice President of the Republic of South Sudan, Her Excellency Rebecca Nyandang de Mabior, Vice President and Chair of the Gender and Youth Cluster of the Republic of South Sudan, and Honorable Aya Benjamin Baril, Minister of Gender, Child and Social Welfare, and Ms. Sarah Beselov-Nyanti, Deputy Special Representative of the Secretary General in UNMISS, Resident Coordinator of the UN Development System, and Humanitarian Coordinator in South Sudan. Right Honorable Speakers, Honorable Ministers, Honorable Governor, colleagues from the Diplomatic Corps, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. Guwa Tamara. These 3 days have been an incredible experience. First, a big thank you to the women that have made this possible, the inspiring female African leaders and the women leaders in South Sudan, from Juba to all states and counties in this beautiful country. A special thank you to Mama Rebecca and Sarah Nyanti, whose perseverance and leadership has created this moment in South Sudanese history. I am so privileged to say a few words at this closing ceremony as a guest on your continent, as a guest in South Sudan, and as an envoy responsible for the bilateral relations between South Sudan and the Netherlands. When Sarah spoke about a journey in her opening address, I could not help and think about a famous Dutch woman, the first one ever to travel to South Sudan, Alexine Tinne. Her name can still be found on a roundabout near our joint embassy compound here in Juba. She was the first European to reach South Sudan, Bahr el-Ghazal, in an expedition that took place from 1861 to 64. Alexine Tinne was not working for our government or a company, nor in competition with the male explorers of her time. She was independent and free. She traveled and observed because she wanted to. She was curious and fearless. Guwa Tamara. Let's be fearless. Today, about 160 years later, here we are in Juba at the closing of the Conference on Women's Transformational Leadership. Now, what did I take out of these 3 days? I could talk long, but I won't. I restrict myself to 5 points. First, about transformation. It's a word I struggled a little bit with in the title of the conference. Transformation is a process. It is a journey. The transition and transformation that South Sudan is in is a process. Women's transformational leadership is an integral part of it. It is based on a capacity to think about women leadership as a springboard for growth and positive change. 2, women in South Sudan have led the way to create trust in the main deliverable of the transitional government of the national unity for the people of South Sudan. And the most important goal is peace. You have shown it in the past and you can do it again. Despite party differences, you have a uniting goal. Trust that goal. Trust each other that together you can get there. Be a team player for peace. My third point. Since the adoption of the UN Security Council Resolution 1325, much has been achieved. But the implementation of the Agenda for Women, Peace and Security is lagging behind. The ambitions expressed in the various resolutions contrast sharply with reality. As much as we have talked about the advancement of participation of women in the peace process here in South Sudan, the situation of women in conflict areas remain very serious and difficult and have to be improved. Gender-based violence remains a reality, but more importantly, the impunity that goes with it. As much as women have to take up political space, they also have to be in every institution to put an end to impunity. Fourth, investment in skills and employment for youth, especially for young women and girls, is the best investment you can make. And certainly in a time of transition. While we call upon the leaders to create lasting peace in this country, and as you heard, this can only be done by the men and women of South Sudan themselves, it is the investment in human capital that we can support, that we can do together, so that a young generation can create its own future with decent jobs or being innovative entrepreneurs. And my last point, my fifth. One of the first questions was what the international community could do. Well, above all, we need to work together to support this young nation and move away from aid dependency to help South Sudan to shape its own sustainable development path. This, I truly believe, is the best we can do for the women in South Sudan. In this journey, we are here to listen, to learn, and to share. Action speaks louder than words. The Netherlands has been and will remain a trusted partner in South Sudan in this journey, in water management, developing agriculture, tackling climate change, private sector development, peace building, and access to justice. And in everything we do, we have the women and girls and the youth of South Sudan at heart. And therefore, I'm very proud to announce that the Netherlands intends a contribution of $7 million for the Seed for Youth program in collaboration with the UNDP. Seed for Youth stands for skills, Seed for Youth stands for skills, employment, and empowerment for the development of the youth of South Sudan. And secondly, I will continue my support for the women leadership in South Sudan. We have to continue to keep and create this space. I support all the female leaders here in Juba, but I also support the female leadership at state and county level. I therefore intend to celebrate International Women's Day this year in Wow, as a testimony to the only female governor in South Sudan. And finally, I have to fulfill a promise I made. On my second trip to Malakal, in a mission with the EU Special Representative for Human Rights, I talked to a group of women in the POC camp. Most of them had been there for years. And they were not complaining. But despite their needs apparently be catered for, they just want a better, future for their children, especially their girls. And on my question, what I could do for them, I only got one answer. Tell them in Juba. Guwa Tamara. Thank you.